Well, thank you. It's so humbled to be here and to be able to be a sponsor of this event. I'm a policy wonk, but once you hear the other speakers, you're going to be blown away. I'm glad I went first because all of them will be very hard acts to follow. So, Lincoln believed that no one, regardless of race, could be confident of any freedom in a society that wasn't grounded in economic liberty. And Americans for Prosperity is dedicated to limited government and economic liberty. My parents both came from broken homes, alcoholic homes. My grandparents, my dad's parents lived right off Livernois here in Detroit on Wilmette on the south side of Detroit. And my parents were teenagers when I was born. And I saw growing up in Inkster, Michigan, that government was not the solution, government was the problem. They came across with top-down solutions, whether it be from DC or from Lansing. And the more I investigated and looked into it, they promise a lot. They have great press conferences, press releases, and proclaim they're going to do a lot for you. But what a lot of people don't realize, they're reaching into someone else's pocket and taking it from you so they can turn around and say, look what I'm doing for you. But they're growing the bureaucracy. They're growing Washington, D.C. and Lansing, but they're not really solving the problems. We believe at Americans for Prosperity the problems have to be solved locally, like the church here, what the church does here in this community. And that when they take out of the community, they're feeding that bureaucracy, but they're coming back and saying they're doing great things for you. So we're glad to be a part of this and talk about that message, we're so glad to be doing that. When we first came to Michigan, we had 346 activists. Now we have over 87,000. And they said, you're just a shill group for the Republican Party. But they found out quick enough that we weren't. And if you look at some of our brochures downstairs, we're taking on Governor Snyder on the gas tax. We already have the 4th highest tax on gasoline in the country. And what's the governor want to do? He wants to raise gas taxes by $1.5 billion. They already collect enough of your money. We should have first-class roads. They don't need more money out of your pockets. And who does the gas tax hurt? It hurts working people. It doesn't hurt people that make good money. It doesn't hurt the big corporations. And that's why at AFP we go issue by issue. We do not endorse candidates. We do not endorse politicians, because we found sooner or later they'll all let you down. So we advocate a very strong position. Let me give you an example, and I'm going to talk about welfare, but not welfare that you hear in the news every day. I'm going to talk about corporate welfare. These are politicians that have big press conferences and brag about what they're going to do for communities by taking money from you and then turning around and handing it to these big corporations. The USA Today just reported that states are giving billions to corporations in mega deals. And guess what state was #1 in giving mega deals? Michigan. Michigan. And guess what corporation nationwide received more mega deals over the past 35 years than any other company? General Motors. General Motors. You know, executives want to stand up there at GM and blame the unions and blame workers and say they're making too much. But the fact is, even though they've gotten all those mega deals, where did they end up? In bankruptcy. And that isn't the workers' fault. That's the people that run the corporation. They're educated in some of the finest institutions in this country, and they ran that company into the ground. And that's true for all these other companies. I have a lot of examples here. I'll only go over a couple. But A123 Systems here in Michigan, $100 million by the state of Michigan. Another $41 million in another program. Plus, the U.S. Department of Energy gave them $250 million. They promised thousands of new jobs, but instead there were layoffs, and last year they filed for bankruptcy. There was another deal, Mescoma Corporation. They were going to build a plant in the Upper Peninsula. In 2008, they got $20 million from the state of Michigan. That's you. They took from all of you. Then they got $100 million from the feds over the past few years. They have a $135 million deficit. They were supposed to produce hundreds of jobs. They said in their prospectus to Wall Street, a risk factor is we have no experience in the market we intend to operate. What do you think if any of you went to the government and said, I have no experience in this industry, Can I have some money to operate a company? Their CEO in 2010 made $5 million. They have produced to date 3 jobs. So this is why, we look at, they'll have the case here and there where they're successful, but we don't believe government should be picking winners and losers. We believe you should be able to keep your money, keep it locally, and you each individually pick winners and losers. We're going to defend economic freedom. We're going to defend limited government and economic prosperity and free markets. We believe that's the way to prosperity. And that's a harder argument to make. That is definitely a harder argument to make. But we're glad to be here. We're humbled to be here. And we feel very strongly about what we're doing. And thank you. Appreciate it.